everybody. My name is Reinaldo Rodriguez. I am a candidate master from Venezuela. For today, we are going to do a very interesting activity. We are going to share, a game where a club player defeat a title player in a simple game. There is a lot of very interesting things to comment about this game. The game was played between one of my students. I want to say thank you to him. For sharing his game and his comments of the game for as a material for the channel. His name is René Stroker. From Netherlands. In this game, René was facing in a simul a FIDE master. His name was Maurice Chippers. Who have a actual FIDE valoration of 2292 FIDE rating points. So it's a quite strong player. In the game, the FIDE master decides to open the game with knight f3. This is known as the ready opening. Also known as the Zuckertod opening. This is one of the most flexible ways to start the game with white. Because the position can transpose to many different setups. Like English opening, Catalan systems, d4 properly, and why not even e4 is still possible. For example, in case of black plays and move like c5. So, well, against this initial surprise, this is quite common, facing strong opponents. Black decides to play d5. This is a very standard decision. That the position can leads to very classical system like the Queen's Gambit decline, the Slav defense. Or also, with knight f6 and g6, to play a kind of Grunfeld system. So very flexible response. And after d5, white decides to play d3. Having this move on the board, is clear that white wants to use Indian setup. Typically when we have this structure with the pawn on e2 and d3, as the bishop is going to be blocking this diagonal, then most probably is that white is going to develop the bishop via g2, having the fianchetto on the kings. And this structure, we can say this is a king's Indian attack setup. So black continue the opening normally, developing the king side knight, and now knight b2. Probably, about this move, another small surprise, because more common would be g3 to preserve some options, to develop the knight, probably via c3 or via d2. Maybe no is too the position no is too defined yet. Let's say to see where the knight will be better. But anyway, white decides to play this move, to support the e4 pawn advance. Having this move on the board without the fianchetto yet, we can consider the possibility to play with e4 and maybe bishop e2. That will be a kind of Philidor defense, with inverted colors. But well, after knight bd2, black decides to play bishop d4. This move is interesting. That have some upsides and downsides. Black have to take, this very important decision about what to do with the bishop. The trouble with the bishop out of the pawn chain, is that in this location can be exposed and can be chased. Especially considering that, with the bishop here right now, we don't have the positional threat about create double pass with exchange, because white is ready to recapture with the other knight. Another alternative for black will be e6 to play the standard position of the Queen's Gambit decline setup. But well, after bishop d4, now h3. Very consistent by the FIDE master. bishop h5, and now g4. Okay, chasing the bishop g6, and now knight e5. Okay, so here we have the fierce imbalance of the game. Okay, while lose a tempo, okay, in the opening phase, in order to be able to exchange the knight for the bishop and winning the minor exchange advantage. Okay, now this exchange will be inevitable. Okay, why is doing this at the cost of black will be able to accelerate the development, okay, a bit, because while white is using this maneuver to capture the bishop, black is going to continue the development normally, okay? So now the exchange is inevitable, okay, but it is very important put quickly pressure on the knight on e5 in order to prevent some potential plans in relation with h4 and h5 to track the bishop with the pawns, okay? So now knight bd7, okay, ready to do this trade. Here, okay, finally the white decides to capture, okay, the bishop, okay, takes, and white have to recapture for sure with the lateral pawn in order to kick the unique island of pawns, okay. Also, black is opening the h file, okay, putting pressure on the backward pawn. Now this bishop has to be developed via fianchetto location, okay, to control this big diagonal and to take care of the backward pawn, okay. So bishop b2, okay, and now e6, okay. The setup selected by black, okay, is very simple, very standard, okay. But one of the benefits that have this system with black pieces is that black have a solid position, as black don't have the lighest conditions. The locations of the pawns on the board is very clear. Following the principles about the color. Okay, so black is getting a clear and easy strategy. Okay, for the bishop pair. Okay, and now this is the next move. Okay, is very critical, for the next middle game incoming. Okay, white decides to push the pawn to e4. Okay, typically this e4 move, okay, is a move that usually is made in the general positions of the king's Indian attack. Okay, and typically this move is in relation with continue pushing the pawn to dislodge the knight, prepare an eventual attack in this plan to the advantage of the space, okay? In this particular situation, the position is a bit different in comparison with the standard King's Indian attack because white already have the bishop pair, okay, after the maneuver with the knight. So those pawns are a bit overexpanded, and white have to be very careful with the pressure on the backward pawn, okay? So about e4, now no is too clear if really white is interested in push the pawn to e5 at some moment, because as white is having the bishop pair, white would like really to exchange pawns to enable new diagonals. So the plan with e4 and e5 now no is too clear because black have the two knights against the two bishops, okay? So here white can consider the possibility to do the rook with c4, okay, to avoid block the bishop, and probably now this plan is quite similar with some ideas in the English opening with rook b1, b4, and b5, and try to put pressure in the pawn chain in this way. This will be another interesting alternative. Also, another potential setup may be with e3, queen e2, and play a kind of hippopotamus setup with b3, bishop b2, and the double fianchetto. Okay, very flexible, because as white have the bishop pair, white have to be very patient and try to avoid define, the position. 4 was a very pragmatic decision. So c6 reinforcing the center, and now white decides to capture on d5. Okay, the capture is quite logical because white wants to remove the blocker of the bishop that was the central pawn on the light square. But now, in other hand, now white is losing his central pawn. And now black can simple recapture here, keeping his central pawn. Okay, black have two options: can recapture with the pawn, with the 2 pawns, and also with the knight. Okay, so the capture with both pawns are possible. Okay, but I consider that the variant selected, okay, that was the capture with the C pawn is, in the practical point of view, the best decision. Okay, because and also the most ambitious one. The idea about the capture with this pawn is, okay, first of all, black is opening the C file. Okay, and eventually, with the control on the C file, there is a interesting pressure on the backward pawn on C2. So if due to the pressure, white needs to push the pawn on C3 to create this pawn structure, that means that eventually black can try to develop a minority attack idea on the queen side to hit the pawn chain in that sector of the board. So the ideas for the middle game start to be very clear for black. Okay, now white play, okay, knight f3 to enable space for the dark square bishop. Also, the knight on d2 was to square away of this pawn being controlled, so it's a quite logical move. Bishop d6, okay, completing development. Bishop e3, white developed the dark square bishop, okay, in a square where he's being supported by a pawn from behind, and also there is no options for the knight to chase the bishop at the moment. Okay, for that reason, at the moment it's a good location for the bishop. Okay, so now short castle. Okay, this is also a very brave move because it's very easy be scared about a potential pawn stone reaching the rook to pawn and opening the file. Okay, but that really no, it's too simple for black because black have very good pressure on g4 and will take some time for white to be able to push the lateral pawn in good conditions. Okay, so now black pieces are connected. Okay, we can say that black have more control of the center, a bit of more space, and also development complete. Okay, in other hand, white have the bishop pair. Okay, so here queen d2. Okay, with this move, white is showing some flexibility. Okay, delaying the castle because white wants to kick the two options available: the short castle and the long castle. Okay, but objectively speaking, the long castle will be very risky for white because first of all, because black have a semi-open file ready to attack in that flank, and also the pawn chain of black is aiming to the queen side. Okay, so this suggests that black should try to play in this sector of the board. Okay, a long castle will be a very risky decision for white. For that reason, in this case, I think that it's very important for white, forget about the attacking idea on the king side and just play in a modest way, maybe just castling to the king side and trying to get some long-term pressure with the bishop pair. Okay, but well, after queen d2, now as the pieces are connected in the background, okay, black decides to push the pawn to a5. Okay, so this move is very consistent, okay, with the orientation of the pawn chain, and this is more in relation with start to win some space, in the flank where black is stronger. Okay, also the pawn is being supported by the rook from behind, so the advance is very safe. Okay, so black decides to start to win space there. Okay, and also to persuade white about the castle to that flank. Okay, and here comes probably one of the most important moments of the game. Maybe we can say that this is the first positional mistake. Okay, white decides to push the pawn to g5. Okay, winning a tempo, attacking the knight, and probably trying to to dislodge the knight to a worse location, like in the edge of the board. Okay, but the trouble with this move is that now the black knight can simply jump to h5, blocking the h file, and also creating a very important intersection point on f4. Okay, because this pawn cannot come back to take care of the f4 square, and really black can accumulate a lot of pieces controlling that point. Okay, so the f4 square, the use of the f4 square will be decisive. Okay, in the future stage of the game, we are going to see that. So this is a nice location for the king c9. You know, initially seems to be like it's misplaced. You know, in the edge of the board, but really the knight can be reincorporated easily, you know, close to the center of the board with only one move. So it's okay. And now, okay, in order to keep that flexibility, why continue delaying the castle, and now decides to play d4. Okay, about this move, this is probably a first sign that White, you know, dislike his position. Okay, a possible explanation of your or justification for this move may be try to place this pawn to square away of this knight to control the knight. But now, as the knight is controlled, black can start to regroup the knight, looking for new outputs. Okay, this is a typical plan in the middle. Okay, look for output for the knight. Okay, because the c4 square now is vulnerable. Okay, usually remember the best move are in relation with the empty square after the last move of your opponent. You know, so if white push the pawn to d4, is losing the control on c4. So now black have a new idea about use that square. Okay. Also about the color of the bishop, we can notice that okay, with this pawn advance, okay, now this bishop becomes in a very back pieces, okay, and really the center is now fixed, okay. So on the contrary, you know, why should we trying to open the position? Okay, the trouble is that some ruptures like c4 are not possible due to the pin. Okay, so for that reason, here maybe White decides just to try to play in a slow way, okay, but just to see what black is going to do. Okay, so after d4, now queen c7. Okay, queen c7 reinforce the control on f4 and also is taking the control of the semi-open file, preparing the pressure on the pawn on c2. Okay, so White anticipate that pressure and decides to push c3. Okay, to avoid the pressure on the backward pawn and now creating this pawn chain. So after c3, as the pawns are not online anymore, this is giving to black a clear route to the pawn on d4. Okay, so here we have 4 versus 3 on the queen side. Okay, so this 4 versus 3 suggests a typical plan known as a minority attack. Okay, now black can use these less pawns on the queen side to reach this rupture point, to exchange on c3 and to produce a modification in white pawn structure in that flank of the board. Also following the principle about focus the game in the sector of the board, you know, where you should be better according to the orientation of your pawn chain. Okay, so now black play b5. So we can see that all the move by black makes a lot of sense in the strategic point of view. And the most important thing is that black is playing in the correct sector of the board. Okay, so now white play h4, and you know, another kind of waiting move, in this case to support the pawn on g5. Okay, and now knight b6. Here, d4 is probably also an interesting possibility. Okay, but I consider that the textual move is even better. Okay, because as the knight was to square away of the pawn on d4, now the knight is ready to get the outputs on c4, and this is a very uncomfortable situation for white, because if white play b3, placing the pawn to square away of the knight to control the c4 square and prevent the creation of the outputs, now this will be the c3 point will be vulnerable. without the protection of the b2 pawn, and black can work over the backward pawn on c2. Okay, for that reason, white decides to play bishop c1, but after knight c4, okay, finally, black get the outputs, attacking the queen and the bishop and also the base of the pawn chain. This move is very, very annoying. Okay, so white decides to eliminate the outputs immediately. Okay, changing the bishop for the knight, and now black have a lot of options here. Can recapture with the d, with the b, or with the queen. Usually capture with the less value pieces and following the orientation of the pawn chain. Okay, used to be the best. So b takes on c4. Okay, amazing way to capture, because now the pawn chain is even longer, and black create an open b file to put pressure directly in this space. Okay. Also, we can notice another important positional change. Okay, that this bishop is very good. Okay, because it's in the opposite corner of the pawn structure, and this bishop at the moment is being blocked by the central pawn on d4. Okay, so black have here advantage of space and also a very big positional advantage, in relation with the activity of the minor pieces as well. Okay. So, well, finally, why realize that needs to look for some coordination and decides to castle, connecting the rooks. Okay, and now a4, waiting more space, okay, on the queen side, and trying to kick the d3 square, well controlled to fix this target on d2. Okay, so a3, and now rook f8, putting pressure in the base of the pawn chain. In this position will be a possible defensive plan for white should be something like this. Try to block the b file with the knight, but the trouble is that plan takes a lot of moves. Okay, and also, the knight on c2 will be blocking the queen, and before that, really, black can accumulate an enormous pressure on b2. Okay, just to mention the possibility to think about that plan, but in the practice, really, is very difficult because white needs too much tempos, to be able to get that location with the knight. Okay, rook ac1. White is preparing the defense through the second round. So rook b5. Okay, the location for the rook here is very instructive because he's selecting the light squares. Okay, in that way, the rook can avoid potential attacks of the bishop. Doesn't matter that the position is closed right now. Okay, in case that will be open. Okay, the rook will not be in a vulnerable location. Okay, so rook b5. Also, the outputs on b3 for the rook is more risky because the rook there can be attacked by the knight. Okay, so rook b5 is a very good location. Okay, so now rook c2, anticipating the pressure. Okay, two defenders on the base, and now rook a8, increasing the pressure. So now black plan is try to increase the pressure here, probably looking for the triplication. Okay, because in that way, if white decides to defend with the rook on b1, there is some tactical tricks with bishop takes on a3, and the rook will be hanging on b1. Okay, so rook a1, white anticipate black triplication and is ready to triplicate the fence here. Okay, as well. So rook hba, rook ab7, sorry, rook a2, and now queen b8. So 3 attackers, okay, and 3 defenders. Okay, so at the moment, black have an enormous pressure, over the backward pawn. That is the main weakness in white position. Okay, but this is a very model game and instructive game about how to create a second weakness, because in a chess game we cannot win the game only attacking one weak point, because that a unique weak point can be defended with the same number of defenders as attackers at the opponent. Okay, for that reason, it's necessary the creation of the second weakness in order to be able to create the necessary imbalance. And to do that, probably Black have to accept some concessions during the process in order to transform the advantage in another kind of position to be able to make progress. And that was made in an excellent way by Black player. Okay, so here after Queen B8 22, this is a kind of waiting move, just waiting in the second rank. And now Bishop F4. Okay, this move is a fantastic move. Okay, because first of all, this is a move that in a first glance don't look too logical, because seems to be like Black is allowing the exchange of this bad bishop for the good bishop. Okay, but really, in case of the trade, okay, the queen can get this location, ready to use the G4 square, and also combine, combining actions with the knight. Black can create a very strong attack on the king. Also, the recapture with the knight gives to Black the possibility to create an output on D3 to continue increasing the pressure with a new piece. Okay, so this is a fantastic move. Okay, White decides to play 91. Okay, here bishop takes on E3. Okay, pawn takes on E3. Okay, here the capture with the pawn. Also, White can consider the possibility to capture with the queen, maybe, but the capture with the queen leave the B2 pawn unprotected, so the pawn falls directly. So yeah, that one is an option. Okay, so pawn takes, and now here knight G3. Okay, the plan select by Black consists in finally relocate the knight, because the knight is placed in the edge of the board, and now it's looking for new outputs close to the center of the board. Okay, here also Black have at his disposal, this interesting option, getting the invasion square to capture the base of the pawn chain here, and after knight G2, queen H3, trying to get the invasion square on H1. This will be also a very interesting option. Okay, really, the textual move is, I would say, simpler and safer. Okay, so knight G3, queen H2. Okay, White is hoping to trade queens, okay, to reduce some pressure. So knight F5 with a double attack, and after the exchange of the queens, okay, White finally played knight G2, and seems to be like, okay, White have still everything under control. Okay, it's controlling the pressure on B2, the pressure on E3, and in the isolated pawn, and also in the pressure on H4. So, okay, there is a lot of vulnerable points, but White managed to kick the material balance at least. Okay, so again, we are going to see another very powerful move that we can compare with the previous bishop d4. Okay, so really in this case, White have three weaknesses: e3, h4, and b2. And despite that, White is defending everything, in very good conditions. So for that reason, it's necessary, continue with the pressure, okay, doing another transformation of the advantage. And Black start to do that, pushing the pawn to f6. Really, the main idea of the move is just enable the f7 square for the king to transfer the rook, and now start to put pressure in another sector of the board. Okay, so this is a fantastic move. King f2, king f7, king f3. Why anticipate the pressure on the semi-open file? So now rook h8, king to g4. Okay, two attackers, two defenders. Okay, so here Black have to find a way, okay, to continue putting more pressure here. Probably a possibility maybe also try to incorporate the other rook as well, okay, to try to increase the pressure on the pawn on h4. But here Black decides to do a maneuver with the knight. Also, here there is a very interesting tactical trick. Okay, that this is a common situation when the strategic game is correct. Tactical resource start to be available, and will be this move: rook takes, knight takes, and knight takes on e3. So recovering the rook. Okay, and also winning 2 pawns during the process. Okay, so that variant will be very nice. But okay, black decides to play knight e6 to look for these outputs. So rook e2, waiting move, knight e4, and now okay, the white decides to trade pawns here. Takes, takes, knight f4, here f5 check. Okay, just to force the king to go back, king h3, unique move, because to kick the defense of the pawn, and now after g5, finally the pawn falls. Okay, so here white have advantage, it's pressure on the queen side, pressure on the king side, advantage of the space, a very strong output. So black is dominating positionally, in all the sectors of the board. So now knight g2. Okay, here keeping the tension, no rush to capture here. So to reincorporate the other rook, rook a1. White wants to mobilize some defenders to the king side as well. And here pawn takes, finally winning the pawn. Knight f4. Yeah, here the capture of the pawn allows black double rooks and increase the pressure on the knight. So that pawn is poisoned. So knight f4. Okay, and here rook hg8. Okay, this is a very interesting move because black takes the control of the open file, leaving the pawn hanging. That is a very clever idea because in that way can put some can kick the pressure on the backward pawn on the queen side. And the tactical justification of that is that in case of this, after the check, the rook can incoming with a staircase mate. Okay, so it was a fantastic move. Okay, so white decides to play rook g2, and now after the exchange of the rooks, d2 will be hanging. Finally, black can convert, all the positional advantage that managed to accumulate and to increase during the middle game in material advantage. Okay, after this, the capture of the pawn, the white structure fall apart. So okay, let's complete the technical phase of the game. So knight takes on h4, knight takes on c3. So black have a strong pass pawn. So have to find a way to use the pawn. Now rook e1. Okay, white takes the control of this open file, probably hoping to do maybe a kind of Arabian mate with check, king here, and maybe bring the rook to f7 with a mate or something like that. Okay, so okay, here, sorry, rook g1. Okay, now knight e4. Okay, centralizing the knight and also enabling a space for the pawn to advance. Okay, so now the plan of the maneuver with the knight was fantastic because black managed to renew some pressure in the base and also blocking the g file. So this is a multitasking move, attacking and defense. Okay, objectively speaking, okay, maybe not the best according to the engine suggestion, but in a practical point of view, a very safe option. Okay, so now king e5, finally c3. Okay, time to push the pawn, rook h1, and here another very good move using prophylactic thinking, king to g7, to take care of all the invasion squares in the open file. Okay, when we have a winning position, one of the most important things is prevent unnecessary counterplay by the opponent. Okay, maybe push the pawn is possible, but no need to take unnecessary risks in this position. Okay, e7. So rook c1. Okay, and now c2, defending the pawn. Here, white decides to increase the pressure on the pawn on c2 with knight e1. And after knight takes on e3, now rook b1 is incoming with a decisive position, okay, because black is going to win the exchange there. A better defense for white would be this one, into f4. Okay, in this case, black can try to continue putting some pressure. For example, there is some move like maybe knight f2, looking for this board, but okay, knight e1 still. That is another possibility. And also, okay, black can have some pressure here, to capture the pawn on e3 or to capture the pawn on a3 as well. Okay, so the textual variant was this one. Knight takes on e3, king f4, and rook b1. And after rook b1, the FIDE master decides to resign. Okay, so in general lines, this was a fantastic game played by Rene. Okay, where he managed to use all the strategic ideas in a very clear and simple way, starting with probably one of the most important ideas is identify and select the correct sector of the board to play. So the plan of a win space with a5 and eventually b5 looking for the minority attack is basically what I will say what gave the victory to black in the strategic point of view, and also important to highlight the how he deal with all the tactical complications during the game, the prophylactic move, preventing the opponent's counterplay. So I will say that it's a very complete and instructive game. And another point to highlight, the creation of the second weakness, with the bishop f4 move, okay, that are the most important moments of the game. So yeah, okay, was a fantastic game, and I hope you enjoy from it and learn a lot. And also, it's a good example about how a good player can defeat a titled player just using very simple strategic tools. Okay, so okay, guys, this is all for this video. I hope you enjoy the lesson. Thank you very much again for Rene for sharing his games. Well, if you like the video, subscribe and share with your friends. Okay, so goodbye.